Hey everybody, hope you're having a great week. Happy Friday. I was hoping that it would be sooner or later here I'd be able to do these from maybe with a short sleeve shirt on, but the weather here in Northwest Indiana is not cooperating, to say the least. So hopefully soon. So today I wanted to start to kind of transition into a different topic. And for the last, what would we say? Let's say, pretty much since the beginning, we've talked about personal insurance, right? We talked about personal auto and home and the different types and things you should think about and stuff like that. And then last week we kind of talked about the side hustle and where that, what does that mean? And now I kind of want to use that as we'll call that a gateway, or to kind of move into commercial insurance, right? So when we're going to talk about business insurance, right, which could mean so many things, right? Like this could be and we can go any way with this. But I thought that today I would kind of start with what is it? What do we do? What does it mean? How do we go about it? That kind of sort of stuff, right? Because when we talk about personal, like, hey, you have an auto, we insure that. You have a home, we insure that, right? Whatever. Well, there is more that we think about, obviously, and based on the industry we think about. So I thought that today we would just kind of dabble in that, and then as we move forward, talk about the different types of policies and things we do and stuff like that. So without any further ado, so you have a business, and we're gonna insure it. And this, for me, is one of my most favorite things. I like to learn from everybody and talk to everybody, and it's no secret that I'm a talker. But I love to learn about people's passion. And since I myself work for a small business, and we're in my own weird way, I'm a small business owner, or take ownership of my job and things like that. I love to sit with people, learn about what they do, what they're passionate about, and how they got about that, how they came about that, and find ways to help them. So first things first, when we would talk commercial, we're going to sit down and learn about your business and what you have, because that could be different for everybody, right? The needs of a contractor are different than the needs of a retail store, like a toy store or something like that, right? So that's the first thing. So we're going to sit down and we're going to go through that, right? From there, we're going to look at, where do you do it, right? How many, what are your sales? What are things like that, right? When we look at personal policies, right, everybody thinks about that, homeowners insurance is covering you and your house, right? Your stuff, right? Well, commercial and, business insurance, we're looking at two things. Yes, we're covering your stuff, but in a lot of times, that's not the biggest fear, right? We are more looking at liability, right? What do you do? Are you a restaurant? What if somebody gets sick? Are you a contractor, right? And, the liability insurance often, depending on it, could be as expensive or more expensive than the actual property that we might insure, depending on the business. So that too, there are more, not only is it a little bit more complex, but there's some more facets and things that we're going to talk about and stuff like that, right? So all that is in that meeting, right? I'm gonna like I said, I'm gonna see what makes you tick, what you do, where you do it, who you do it for, and use that to start to gauge on a plan, an idea of what you might need. Very often when I do insurance or quote somebody, I will ask for deck pages, or maybe say, hey, what are your current coverages? But I very often like to kind of start my own way, meaning I want to maybe use what you might have as a guide, but I want to make sure that's correct, right? Like, just because somebody said you should have X once upon a time, why did they say that? Do you still need that? Obviously now, people change and we have inflation and different stuff and things cost more, like, is that still what you should have? So a lot of times I will do my due diligence, ask a whole lot of questions that might seem kind of random and weird and prodding, but the more that I know about you, the better I can do, right? So based on industry, those questions might be different. And that liability, which is a big portion of your commercial auto, your commercial policy or package of policies, we get that through a bunch of different ways, which we'll go into, whether it's sales or how much space you occupy, or how many employees you have, or how much payroll. All kinds of different things might go into it. But from there, we're going to sit down over a period of time and basically think about, what do you need, right? If you have employees, obviously you're going to need workers' compensation, right? Do you have autos, right? Do you deliver? Do you haul things? What do you do? Where do you go, right? Is there any things that we need to worry about with that? Where's your property? Is it always in one place? Does it move around? All those things we take into account, and we then put together a grouping, of policies that cover you for all those situations. Obviously today I'm not going to go through each and every one. I wanted today to kind of be like a 50,000 foot view of that, to say, okay, guys, this is the start of that process. If you were going to start a business, right? So let's look at it from that perspective, right? And you called me and said, hey, I'm gonna put a toy store in a storefront, or in the case of my daughter, in this last couple of weeks, they've been working on making dioramas of businesses, right? So Reese was going to do a donut shop called Sprinkles and Frosting. All right. So Reese calls me and is like, all right, Dad, I need insurance. Okay. So we're going to go through, okay, so what do you have? What are your projected sales? And we're going to go through that. But that's going to be our first step. Our first step is, okay, what is your business? Like, what do you do? Where do you do it? And we kind of ask questions from there to make sure that you're best protected. So I hope everybody has a great weekend and a great week, and look forward to kind of diving into this with you guys more, and kind of, let's say, navigating commercial insurance, as it is sometimes to some people. It is more complex, but like I said, I enjoy it because to sit with somebody, learn about their business, learn about what their passions are, and in a lot of instances what they've spent a good portion of their life working on, is super exciting. And to be, as I always put it, a member of that person's team, right? I am part of their team to help protect that, whether it is as simple as a donut shop or it is complex as a manufacturer that works in multiple states. They're all important, and they are all super special to what they need, and no one is less important to their person. So yeah, I hope everybody has a great weekend. I look forward to getting into this a little bit more, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.